Are we at the hotel?
No, we're going to Flame Central.
That's
a good question.
Are we not going? Are we at the club?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're at the club. You want to go to that?
Fuck. Who swindled that shit? Who swindled us going straight to the club? Let's go in. I'm not actually going to really interview you, but I'm going to do like a fake interview for about one question. Calgary, tell us about it.
When I landed in Calgary, all I saw was an absolute fuck ton of grass and plains.
Who? What?
Just absolutely nothing when I landed, so I had no idea what to expect.
Sometimes we fly into a city, and if someone were to give me a map and say, where are you right now? I have no idea. I don't know if I'm on the East Coast, West Coast.
Oh my God.
Certified crew right here.
Oh my God, this is my house.
Because every time you go to a new city that you've never played in, like, you don't know what to expect. So this was kind of a wild card.
It was fucking awesome. It was small and intimate, which I love because you could see every single face, and I love playing during the day because I love seeing people sing along, especially to our unreleased tracks.
I think the internet has kind of like homogenized things across the spectrum, even though we're in the middle of nowhere. Essentially, the kids in Calgary are just as knowledgeable and dialed in as the kids in Brooklyn or in London.
I don't know if you remember this, but you retweeted this picture of my mom doing the bro hammer. She was like, what is the bro hammer? Like teaching us.
This is amazing.
When I was coming up and listening to like Sasha and Digweed and all these heroes back in the day, it was a journey just accessing the music. Whereas now I feel like the kids are almost overloaded with the amount of material because the market's so saturated because everybody's loving EDM. It's good because artists like us are able to have cool careers, but at the same time, there's so much music out there that I don't really know that this generation has to work very hard to get it. And that also in turn leads to like a really short shelf life on how tracks proceed through the market. And unless it's a super big skyrocketing, like, charting radio hit, like the shelf life of club tracks is...
Yeah, everyone's already waiting for the next one to come out, like a few days before the other one.
Yeah, 2 weeks, and it's like, where's the next one?
Yeah.
This is Fort Calgary, sort of the home base of Calgary's history. This is our first electronic show on this site. It's our second one of the year. We did the Mad Decent block party at another location a couple of weeks ago.
As the festival scene has grown and the EDM scene has grown, it became natural to do a large-scale EDM festival, which this is going to be the largest in Alberta history, and it might be the largest in Western Canada this year. We were tossing around ideas of a name. Obviously, with Tiesto as our headliner, he has the track Chasing Summers, and it speaks a lot to the mindset of people in Alberta, where winters are very long, summers are notoriously short.
Playing big festivals is just awesome. I mean, it's the biggest energy rush, and I feel really lucky, and just to be able to play my music in front of thousands of people, and it's even better if they enjoy it, which is not always the case, but most of the time.
That was actually the first time I've ever started from like zero crowd at a festival, so it was a little nerve-wracking, but I was stoked. By the end of it, it was full on. Definitely a unique experience, and I was definitely shitting my pants for the first 5 minutes.
I remember playing here about 10 years ago to about 200 people. Since then we've just been playing to more and more people here, and the crowd here are very up for it and very engaged in the music. That's what we want to play to, a bunch of really sort of motivated, enthusiastic fans, and Calgary definitely has that.
I played here probably at least a dozen times in my DJ career. I think this is the first open air festival I've ever played in Calgary, so it was awesome. I usually play during like Stampede Week or what's that club I always play at, man? Flame Central, yeah. I always play Flames.
The gigs at Flame Central I particularly remember being, really good.
It's probably the best theater venue in Calgary, but then they've just barfed NHL all over the inside.
The big C's that you see all around us are the Calgary Flames logo, who we are associated with, and that's where the name Flame Central comes from. It can be pretty rowdy. I mean, anybody who's been in the electronic music industry can tell you it's a very different crowd, but we have a really loyal following. We could do 4 shows in the span of 2 weeks, and we still have the same kids coming every single time.
Hi-Fi's been around since 2005.
We started it kind of out of necessity because we were running nights in the city and we wanted a home for all the shows we wanted to do. That's what we've always tried to do at Hi-Fi is like book acts and shows that we love that would never come here in the past. It's not a good recipe for making money, but it's a good recipe for like creating a scene. As far as the growth of the scene in Calgary from the advent of the rave scene in the 90s, it was at like little community halls. You know, it wasn't in the clubs. It was fully underground, and then
The rave bylaw, I don't know really what caused it. Like, there wasn't a bunch of deaths or anything. It was basically people were just partying really
Paranoia.
hard. Yeah, it was basically paranoia.
I sat on the city committee back then, and this is probably 2001. You know, we worked as much as we could to, you know, guide them in the right direction, but it killed the racing.
And so all these events moved into the clubs and became 18 plus. There still isn't all ages dance music events.
You just can't do it.
No, check out the bylaw.
After the bylaw kicked in, it kind of made it really expensive to throw a party of that magnitude. Parties like this coming together, I never thought I'd see it again.
You know, the city though as a whole in Calgary, not so much in terms of raves per se, but in terms of festivals and working with the established promoters to be able to do, you know, a large EDM event, you know, right on the outskirts of downtown has really been a positive move in the last few years.
This is definitely the year of the outdoor festival in Calgary, where there's been a couple in past years, but this year there's just kind of, now that there's been like 7 or something.
Totally, it's crazy.
So this is another thing that should get mentioned is Sled Island Fest, which is kind of similar style to South by Southwest. They've spent the last 5 years building up this like amazing like locally produced festival, which has like so much love put into it and character, and this year it got cut in half by the flood.
Nature is still in charge, and it likes to remind us every now and then of that fact.
Everybody basically in the downtown music scene lives in the flood area, so I mean it's displaced a bunch of those people who aren't back in their apartments, and businesses are going to go out of business, and some have already.
It really did bring everyone together though. I mean, everyone pitched in, the amount of volunteers that showed up.
Calgary's always been known as a community that comes together in times of need. When the Olympics were here in 1988, you know, it was a hugely volunteer-run event.
And I think that it's going to be a good thing for the music scene in town. Even at the Mad Decent Block Party, right after Stampede, it was a couple weeks after the flood, and people were just kind of ready to let loose. Like they were, you know, it was like, okay, we went through all this bullshit for the last 3 weeks. Like let's kind of like turn things around and like let's party our way to like, you know, to like sanity, yeah, or something. Who knows? like let's party our way out of the flood.
It's a rough country here. It takes a particular kind of person to really want to do well out here. What happened in Calgary and how people responded really speaks to that character of strength and fortitude, I guess it would be the best way to put it. It's just, you know, it reminded me of how actually awesome it is to live in Alberta.